So this is our last new section for this little mini unit. And we're talking about angles formed by tangents and chords. So we have to go over a couple of definitions and then we'll do a couple of problems. So first off, in this first picture, AB, so this line here, is what we call a tangent line. To be a tangent line, it's a line that only touches the circle once. So if you look at this line, it touches it here, but nowhere else. So a tangent line touches the circle exactly once. The point where it touches that circle, so this point right here, B, we call that the point of tangency. Because that's the point at which they are tangent. And then segment CD is called a chord. A chord has endpoints on the circle. A diameter is a special type of chord. A diameter is a chord that goes through the center, which is what makes it a diameter. But anytime you have a segment that just goes from one side to the other, but not necessarily through the center, we call it just a chord. So we're going to be looking at the relationship between chords and tangents specifically today. So any questions about what these three terms are and what they mean or what they look like in the picture? Robert.
The radius, wouldn't it be like a tangent too?
But a tangent's not a line. A tangent is a line that continues in both directions, meaning it goes on forever. A radius is a segment, so it has a specific start and end, so we wouldn't say that it's tangent. Because if we continued the line, it would go through a second time. Whereas this, if we were to continue it in both directions, it won't curve back around to go into the circle. Okay, so if we look at our second picture here, AB is a tangent line with the P as the point of tangency and R is a radius. When this happens, when you have a radius and a tangent line and the radius meets at the point of tangency, the radius is perpendicular to the tangent line at point P. So that means this is going to create two 90-degree angles. But this is only true when you have a radius and a tangent line meeting at the point of tangency. Okay, our two examples are going to be ones that aren't radii. So our two examples where we're going to find the measurement of each arc, or each, actually I should say each A and B. How we do this is very similar to inscribed angles. So an inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex is on the circle. Well, if we look at the chord and the tangent line, isn't that an angle whose vertex is on the circle? So if this is 115, what does the arc equal? Double it, 230. So how does that help us find arc B? 360 minus 230. So that would be 130. So B is 130 degrees. And then how does that help us figure out what A is? Half that. So A is going to be 130 divided by 2. So it's still, we treat it the same way as the inscribed because it still kind of fits that definition of a vertex on the circle. They just look a little different because one's a tangent and one's a chord. Now this works when it's a diameter as well, or I'm sorry, when it's a radius, because how we get this fact up here, if we treat this as, if we continue this, and we treat this as a tangent and a chord, what did this make if this is a diameter? A half circle, so this would be 180, so that would be 90. So that's where that whole property comes from, is from this, the same definition we use here. It's just one that we kind of generalize because it happens all the time. Okay, what about number 2? We need to find x and y here. Okay, so we know this is 230, so 360 minus 230 is what? 130. So if this is 130, what's x? 65. Huh? Yeah, but different, but given an information in a different way. It is. It's just here we were given the angle and we went out and around. Here we were given the arc and we went out and then in. So it's same problem, just different ways that they can present it. So you can either go from arcs to angles or angles to arcs. Okay, that's really all there is to tangents and chords right there. It's just how they look a little different, but how you do them is exactly the same as what you did yesterday. Any questions on tangents and tangents and chords?